The boundary breakers. The Starweaver drifted silently through the void, its sleek hull gleaming under the light of distant stars. Captain Ilara Vor stood at the main viewport, her four eyes fixed on the shimmering barrier ahead, the quantum boundary that separated the Milky Way galaxy from the rest of the universe. Her pale green skin reflected the soft glow of the ship's instruments as she contemplated the gravity of their mission. "All systems prepared for boundary crossing, Captain," announced First Officer Krell, his voice steady despite the tension that permeated the bridge. "Stealth measures at maximum." Ilara nodded, her slender fingers tightening around the command rail. "Proceed with final checks." The crew of 23 moved with practiced efficiency. They were the finest minds the Galactic Alliance had to offer: scientists, explorers, and specialists united by an irresistible curiosity. For 10,000 cycles, the Alliance had enforced the most sacred law in its constitution. No vessel shall enter the prohibited space of the spiral galaxy, designated MW1. The penalty for violation was permanent exile, if you survived. Yet here they were, about to break that ancient prohibition. "Why risk everything for this?" asked Tala, the ship's xenobiologist, joining Ilara at the viewport. Her crystalline exoskeleton glittered as she moved. "Because it's time we learned the truth," Ilara replied, not taking her eyes off the barrier. 10,000 cycles of myth and speculation. The sleeping giants, the chaos bringers, the untamed ones, all these legends about the inhabitants of this galaxy, but no evidence, no contact, no explanation for why we keep our distance. The Science Council said. The Science Council recites the same warnings that have been passed down since the founding of the Alliance. Ilara interrupted. "I want facts, not folklore." The mission had been planned in secret for 3 cycles. A small faction within the Alliance Council, led by Elder Vox, had grown weary of the information blackout regarding the Milky Way. They had recruited Ilara and her crew with the promise of making history, cross the boundary, observe from a safe distance, gather data, and return without detection. "Quantum boundary crossing in 30 seconds, announced Navigator Mira, her tentacles dancing across the holographic controls. Ilara took her command seat. "All stations, prepare for transition. Remember, passive scans only. We observe. We do not interact." The countdown appeared on the main display as the Starweaver glided toward the shimmering quantum wall. The ship had been specifically designed for this mission, equipped with the most advanced stealth technology and scientific instruments available to the Alliance. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Starweaver penetrated the barrier. For a moment, the lights flickered, and a subtle vibration passed through the hull. The view screen temporarily filled with quantum static before clearing to reveal the stars of the Milky Way. "Transition complete," Mira confirmed. "We are now in prohibited space." A collective exhale swept through the bridge. They had done it, the first Alliance vessel to deliberately enter the Milky Way in 10 millennia. "Begin passive scans," Ilara ordered. "Let's see what secrets this galaxy has been hiding." The science team, led by Chief Researcher Zen, immediately set to work. Their specialized instruments cataloged radiation patterns, gravitational anomalies, and a complex dance of star systems unique to this galaxy. "Initial readings show nothing unusual," Zen reported after several minutes. "Star formation and planetary development appear consistent with known galactic patterns." "Continue monitoring," Ilara replied. The Alliance wouldn't isolate an entire galaxy without reason. 3 hours into their mission, Engineer Sora's voice broke the concentrated silence. "Captain, I'm detecting an unusual fluctuation in the primary drive." Ilara frowned. "Specify." "Energy output is dropping by 4%, now 7%. Sora's digits flew across the diagnostic panel. "Something's interfering with the quantum matrix. The drive is losing cohesion." "Is it the barrier?" Ilara asked, moving to join her. "Unknown. It could be a delayed reaction to crossing or something within this galaxy affecting our technology. Before Ilara could respond, the ship lurched violently. Warning signals flashed across every console as the lights dimmed to emergency levels. Primary drive failure, Sora shouted, switching to auxiliary power. The backup systems engage, but Ilara knew they faced a serious problem. The auxiliary drives could maintain life support and basic functions, but they lacked the power needed to cross the quantum barrier again. Without repairs to the primary drive, they were trapped in forbidden space. Damage report, Ilara ordered, her voice calm despite the gravity of their situation. Reports flooded in from across the ship. The quantum matrix, the heart of their propulsion system, had suffered a catastrophic collapse. The cause remained unclear, but the result was undeniable. The Starweaver couldn't leave the Milky Way. Ilara called her senior staff to the command center. Their faces showed the strain of their predicament as they gathered around the tactical display. Options, she said simply. First Officer Krell spoke first. We have supplies for 50 cycles if we reduce consumption. The drive? Ilara asked, looking at Engineer Sora. She shook her head. The quantum matrix is completely destabilized. We lack the specialized materials to rebuild it. Such repairs would normally require a space dock and support vessels. And our location? Ilara turned to Navigator Mira. We're approximately 3 light-years inside the boundary. The nearest star system within this galaxy is about 2 light-years from our position. Ilara considered their situation. Can we reach that system using auxiliary power? Mira calculated briefly. Yes, but it would take nearly 30 cycles at maximum auxiliary speed. And we have no data on what awaits us there, reminded Security Chief Drav. Remember why we're here. This entire galaxy is off-limits for a reason. Silence fell over the group as the reality of their situation sank in. They were stranded in prohibited space, their mission of quick observation now impossible. Every option carried significant risk. What about the distress beacon? Suggested researcher Zen. Security Chief Drav frowned. Using it would alert the Alliance to our violation. We would face severe punishment upon rescue, assuming they even came for us. If they came for us, corrected First Officer Krell, the Alliance might decide it's safer to leave us here than risk sending more ships into prohibited space. Ilara looked at each of her crew members. They had all volunteered for this mission knowing the dangers, but none had expected to be stranded with no way home. We will proceed methodically, Ilara decided. First, continue attempts to repair the drive. Second, conduct passive scans of the nearby system. Perhaps there are resources we can use. Third, prepare the distress beacon, but do not activate it yet. The crew nodded in agreement, finding comfort in having a plan despite their dire circumstances. Over the next 3 cycles, Engineer Sora and her team worked tirelessly on the drive, while researcher Zen's science team studied the nearby star system. Their scans revealed a yellow star with 8 planets, the third of which showed signs of a nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere and liquid water. On the 4th cycle, with repair efforts showing little progress, Ilara made her decision. She gathered the crew once more. We have 2 choices, she stated plainly. Activate the distress beacon and face Alliance justice, or use our remaining power to reach the nearby system and search for materials to repair our ship. After much discussion, they reached a compromise. They would set course for the nearby system while simultaneously activating the distress beacon on a narrowband frequency that only Alliance vessels would detect. It was a desperate gamble, but it gave them the best chance of survival. As the Starweaver's auxiliary engines hummed to life, and the distress beacon began broadcasting its repeating signal into the void, Captain Ilara looked out at the stars of the Forbidden Galaxy. Whatever secrets the Milky Way held, she and her crew would soon discover them, whether they wished to or not. 7 cycles passed as the Starweaver limped toward the yellow star. The distress beacon had continued its silent call, but no response had come. Either the Alliance hadn't detected their signal, or they had chosen to ignore it. Neither possibility offered much comfort. "Captain," called Navigator Mira, breaking the oppressive silence on the bridge. "We're receiving unusual energy signatures from the third planet." Ilara was at her station in an instant. "Natural phenomena?" "No," Mira replied, her tentacles working rapidly over the controls. "These are artificial, consistent with communications and energy generation technology." And she paused, rechecking her readings. "There's something approaching us. A vessel of some kind, accelerating from the third planet." "On screen," ordered Ilara. The main display activated, showing a small craft moving rapidly toward their position. Its design was unlike anything in the Alliance database, angular in some places, curved in others, with no clear adherence to the unified aesthetic principles followed by Alliance shipbuilders. "They've detected us," stated Security Chief Drav, immediately activating defensive protocols. "Are they responding to our beacon?" asked First Officer Krell. "Unknown," replied Communications Officer Pell. "But they're broadcasting on multiple frequencies. It appears to be an attempt at communication." The unknown vessel slowed as it approached, coming to a relative stop approximately 5,000 meters from the Starweaver. Now visible through the viewport, its design was indeed unlike anything the Alliance had encountered, sleek but utilitarian, with visible propulsion systems and what appeared to be primitive weapons arrays. "They're scanning us," reported Researcher Zen. "Thorough but non-invasive scans." "Captain," called Communications Officer Pell. "They're hailing us. Audio and visual transmission." Ilara straightened her uniform. This was it. First contact with whatever species the Alliance had been avoiding for millennia. "Accept the transmission." The main screen flickered, and the bridge crew of the Starweaver found themselves looking at beings they had never seen before. The aliens were bipedal with 2 arms and a head situated atop a vertical torso. Their skin tones varied from light beige to dark brown, and their heads featured hair in various colors and styles. They wore matching blue uniforms with insignia the Alliance couldn't recognize. One of the aliens stepped forward, a being with short black hair and a commanding presence. "This is Captain Marcus Chen of the Earth vessel Pathfinder," the alien spoke, their language automatically translated by the Starweaver's systems. "We detected your distress signal. Do you require assistance?" The bridge fell silent. The words were simple, but their implications profound. These weren't aggressive beings rushing to attack. They were offering help. Ilara stepped forward. "I am Captain Ilara Vor of the Alliance vessel Starweaver. We have suffered critical drive failure and are stranded. Any assistance would be—" She paused, searching for the right word. "Greatly appreciated." Captain Chen nodded. "We detected the damage to your propulsion systems. With your permission, we'd like to send over a team to assess if we can help with repairs." Security Chief Drav moved closer to Ilara. "Captain, allowing unknown aliens aboard is extremely risky," he whispered. "So is remaining stranded in forbidden space," Ilara replied quietly. She turned back to the screen. "We welcome your assistance, Captain. Our docking bay is on the port side of our vessel." "Excellent," Captain Chen replied. "Our shuttle will arrive shortly. Pathfinder out." As the transmission ended, the bridge erupted in nervous discussion. "Did we just make first contact with the sleeping giants?" asked Navigator Mira. "They call themselves Earth Vessel," noted Researcher Zen. "Earth must be their planet of origin. They look so similar to us, yet different," observed First Officer Krell. "Bipedal, symmetrical, with clear communication abilities." Ilara raised her hand for silence. "Whatever they are, they've offered help when we desperately need it. Prepare for their arrival. Security, establish a reception protocol, but keep weapons concealed. We don't want to appear hostile." As the small shuttle from the Pathfinder approached their docking bay, Ilara couldn't help but wonder whether they were about to discover why the Milky Way had been quarantined for so long, and whether that discovery would bring salvation or doom. The truth behind the barrier. The magnetic locks engaged with a gentle thud as the Earth shuttle docked with the Starweaver. Captain Ilara led a small reception team to meet their visitors. As the airlock cycled and the doors slid open, 5 humans in engineering uniforms stepped aboard. Captain Marcus Chen led them, carrying what appeared to be a portable diagnostic device. He was shorter than Ilara had expected, but carried himself with quiet confidence. Captain Vor, Chen greeted with a slight bow. "Thank you for allowing us aboard. These are my engineers, Dr. Amara Okafor, our chief engineer, Lieutenant Raj Patel, systems specialist, Ensign Mylin, drive technician, and Commander Sarah Nassar, materials expert." Ilara introduced her own team, noting how the humans observed them with undisguised curiosity, but no fear, only interest and perhaps a touch of excitement. "If you'll show us to your engine room," requested Dr. Okafor, "we can begin our assessment." Engineer Sora led the way to the drive chamber. The humans moved with surprising agility, adapting quickly to the slightly different gravity and atmosphere of the Alliance vessel. They asked intelligent questions about the ship's systems, occasionally exchanging glances when they encountered technology unfamiliar to them. In the drive chamber, the humans spread out, examining the damaged quantum matrix with methodical precision. They connected their devices to the Alliance systems with surprising ease, almost as if they'd been designed to interface. "Your quantum resonance is completely destabilized," observed Dr. Okafor after several minutes, "but the underlying architecture is salvageable." "Can you repair it?" asked Ilara. Dr. Okafor glanced at Chen, who nodded. "We can do better than repair it," she replied. "We've been developing similar technology ourselves. With your permission, we could implement some modifications that would not only restore functionality, but improve efficiency." Ilara hesitated. Allowing aliens to modify their drive technology was unheard of, yet what choice did they have? "How long would these repairs take?" she asked. "With both our teams working together, perhaps 20 hours, replied Dr. Okafor. Ilara exchanged looks with Engineer Sora, who nodded almost imperceptibly. "Proceed," she authorized. What followed was a remarkable display of cooperation and technical aptitude. The humans worked alongside the Alliance engineers with surprising harmony, overcoming communication barriers through shared technical understanding. Several times, Ilara observed human engineers intuitively grasping Alliance technology concepts that should have been completely foreign to them. 6 hours into the repairs, Ilara found herself standing beside Captain Chen, watching their teams work together. "Your people are remarkably adaptable," Ilara observed. "You've never seen our technology before, yet you understand it as if you helped design it." Chen smiled. "Humans have always been quick learners, especially when it comes to understanding how things work and how to improve them. May I ask how you detected our signal?" "We were under the impression that this region of space was restricted." Chen gave Ilara a curious look. "Restricted? The solar system, our home system, has been inhabited for thousands of years. We have several outposts throughout our system, including near its edges where your signal was detected." Before Ilara could respond, Engineer Sora approached with excitement visible in her posture. "Captain, you need to see this," she said. "The modifications the humans suggested have increased potential drive efficiency by 42%. That's beyond even Alliance standards." Ilara struggled to hide her surprise. These humans, unknown to the Alliance, possessed technology that rivaled or even surpassed their own. Perhaps this explained the ancient quarantine. But if so, why did the humans seem so unaware of their own isolation? As the repair work continued, an impromptu gathering formed in the Starweaver's common area. Humans and Alliance crew sat together, sharing meals from their respective ships. The humans had brought some of their food as a gesture of goodwill, and surprisingly, most of it was compatible with Alliance biology. "This is quite pleasant," said Officer Pell, tasting the sweet fruit the humans called an apple. "The texture is similar to our guava fruit." Dr. Okafor smiled. And your spiced beverage reminds me of chai. Different, but familiar enough. Captain Ilara watched the interaction with fascination. The humans showed none of the dangerous traits mentioned in the ancient Alliance warnings. They were curious, friendly, and remarkably similar to Alliance species in their social behavior, despite their physical differences. Captain Chen approached and sat beside Ilara. Your crew seems to be getting along well with mine. Yes, Ilara agreed. It's surprising how comfortable the interaction feels, considering we only met hours ago. Humans have always been adaptable, Chen explained. Our history is filled with different cultures meeting and finding common ground. This opening gave Ilara the opportunity she had been considering since their first conversation. Captain, there's something important I need to share with you about why we're here. Chen's expression grew serious. I've sensed you were holding something back. Please, speak freely. Ilara took a deep breath. We didn't enter your space by accident. Our mission was to observe the Milky Way galaxy from a distance because... She paused, measuring her words. Because your entire galaxy has been under quarantine for 10,000 cycles, what you would call years. Chen's eyes widened. Quarantine. By whom? The Galactic Alliance, a coalition of 17 galaxies that maintains order in this part of the universe. The Milky Way was declared off-limits to all travel or communication millennia ago. The human captain stared at Ilara, clearly processing this information. Are you saying there's an entire community of galaxies out there, and we've been deliberately isolated from them? Yes, Ilara confirmed. That's exactly what I'm saying. Chen's reaction wasn't the anger or outrage Ilara had expected. Instead, he showed thoughtful concern. This explains so much, he said quietly. Our scientists have long wondered why we've detected no signs of other intelligent life, despite the mathematical probability suggesting we shouldn't be alone. Soon both crews gathered to hear this revelation. The humans asked intelligent questions, seeking to understand rather than react emotionally. They wanted to know why the quarantine existed, when it had been established, and whether the Alliance knew the reasoning behind it. Our historical records don't provide clear answers, Ilara admitted. The decision predates even the oldest Alliance archives. We only know that the Milky Way was described as containing sleeping giants that must remain undisturbed. Researcher Zen, who had been quiet during the discussion, suddenly spoke up. Captain Chen, do your people have any archaeological evidence of contact with non-human civilizations in your ancient past? Chen exchanged glances with Commander Nasser. Yes, actually. There are puzzling archaeological findings across Earth that suggest visitations occurred thousands of years ago. Ancient artwork depicts beings unlike humans, and some prehistoric structures show engineering knowledge that doesn't match the technology of the time. When did these visitations appear to stop? Zen asked. Our most recent credible evidence dates to approximately 12,000 years ago, Chen replied. After that, the record goes silent. Zen looked at Ilara meaningfully. That aligns precisely with the timing of the quarantine order. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this connection. Then Zen continued, accessing data on her tablet. Captain, with your permission, I'd like to share something I discovered in our historical archives. Information classified as theoretical but potentially relevant. Ilara nodded her approval, and Zen displayed a series of ancient text translations on the main screen. According to these fragments, approximately 12,000 years ago, a conflict erupted between two cosmic forces referred to as the Shapers and the Void Minds. This wasn't a conventional war, but a struggle for influence over evolutionary paths throughout multiple galaxies. The text described how developing worlds had been used as battlegrounds, with promising species manipulated by both sides, some cultivated for aggression and dominance, others for cooperation and innovation. The final record states that a protected zone was established around a galaxy containing the last uncompromised seed. The zone was to remain until the seed flowered into its natural potential without interference. Captain Chen leaned forward. Are you suggesting Earth was this seed? It seems possible, Zen replied. The timing matches, and the quarantine is consistent with a protection measure rather than containment. This would explain why the Alliance maintained the quarantine for so long without clear explanation, Ilara added. The original purpose may have been lost to time, with only the prohibition remaining. Commander Nassar, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. If this is true, then we weren't isolated because we were dangerous, but because someone wanted to protect us. Not just protect you, Zen suggested, but allow you to develop naturally, without outside influence shaping your evolution. As this possibility settled over the group, Dr. Okafor brought up an observation. In just the few hours we've worked together, your engineers have noted our unusual adaptability with technology. This isn't coincidental. Humans have always shown remarkable abilities to integrate and improve upon technologies we encounter. And it's not just technological, added Chen. Humans possess both highly analytical minds and deep emotional capacity. We can design weapons of terrible destruction, yet we also create art that moves us to tears. Our history is filled with both cruelty and profound compassion. Ilara considered this. Perhaps that's what made humans worth protecting. Your balance of capabilities, the potential to become something unique in the universe. As the discussion continued into the ship's night cycle, Ilara and Chen moved to a quieter corner of the room. What happens now? Chen asked. Your drive will soon be repaired. Will you return to warn the Alliance that the quarantine has been breached? Ilara stared at her reflection in the viewport, stars of the Milky Way shining beyond. I must report what we found, but not as a warning. This discovery changes everything we thought we knew. The quarantine can't remain in place now that contact has been made, Chen noted. The Alliance will have to decide how to respond, Ilara warned. They might attempt to reinforce the isolation if they believe the ancient prohibitions still serve a purpose. Chen's expression grew determined. Humanity has spent too long alone in the cosmos. Now that we know what's out there, we won't accept being hidden away again. No, Ilara agreed. I don't believe you would. Their conversation was interrupted by a priority alert from the Starweaver's bridge. First Officer Krell's voice came through Ilara's communicator. Captain, long-range sensors have detected multiple vessels approaching the solar system. They've just crossed the quantum barrier. Ilara and Chen exchanged alarmed glances before rushing to the bridge. The main display showed 17 Alliance vessels of varying sizes arranged in attack formation, heading directly for Earth. They found out, whispered Security Chief Drav. Someone reported our mission. Ilara's mind raced. Only the secret council faction had known of their expedition. Had there been a leak, or had the Alliance been monitoring the barrier all along? We need to intercept them, Ilara told Chen. I must speak with the fleet commander before they take action. If they're here in force, their intentions are likely hostile. Chen responded, already activating his communicator. Earth Defense Command. This is Captain Chen. We have a situation. Within hours, Earth's defense forces were mobilizing. Despite their technological disadvantages, the humans showed no fear, only determination. Our options are limited, stated Admiral Reyes, a stern-faced woman leading Earth's space defense. According to Captain Vor, this Alliance fleet has technology centuries beyond our own. Not necessarily, interjected Dr. Okafor. The modifications we made to the Starweaver's drive system prove we can adapt and improve upon their technology quickly. We've already implemented similar principles in our defense grid. Chen turned to Ilara. Captain, in your assessment, what is the Alliance's likely course of action? Ilara considered carefully before responding. The quarantine has stood for 10,000 cycles. Its enforcement is absolute. Standard protocol would be to neutralize any contamination, which means destroying both our vessel and any humans who have had contact with us. That would include our orbital stations and possibly Earth itself. Chen translated grimly. We won't allow that, stated Admiral Reyes. Every available ship is being armed with our new shield technology based on the Starweaver's systems. We'll form a defensive line at Mars orbit." Ilara exchanged glances with First Officer Krell. Both knew that even with improvements, Earth's technology couldn't match an Alliance battle fleet. "There may be another approach," Ilara suggested. "Let me return alone to speak with the fleet commander. I can explain what we've learned about the true purpose of the quarantine." "And if they don't listen?" asked Chen. "Then at least we will have tried diplomacy first," Ilara replied. Earth's leadership debated briefly before agreeing to Ilara's proposal, with one condition. Captain Chen would accompany her as Earth's representative. If peaceful contact could be established, humans deserved a voice in the discussion. As the repaired Starweaver approached the edge of the solar system, the Alliance fleet came into view, a formation of sleek, powerful vessels arranged in attack position. At their center floated the imposing command ship, Eternal Justice. "They're hailing us," reported Officer Pell. The stern face of Fleet Commander Tavik appeared on screen. "Captain Vor of the Starweaver, you have violated Alliance quarantine protocols and made unauthorized contact with the sequestered species. You will surrender your vessel immediately and prepare for disciplinary action." Ilara stood straight, showing no fear. "Commander Tavik, I request the opportunity to present critical information regarding the quarantine's true purpose. We have discovered historical records that shed new light on the situation." "The purpose is irrelevant," Tavik responded coldly. "The law is absolute. We have detected numerous Earth vessels approaching. They too must be neutralized to maintain the integrity of the quarantine." Captain Chen stepped forward. "I am Captain Marcus Chen of Earth. We know about the quarantine now, and we understand it was meant to protect humanity's development, not imprison us. That development is complete. We're ready to join the galactic community." Tavik's eyes narrowed. "The human speaks our language. The contamination is worse than we thought. All units prepare to engage both the Starweaver and the approaching Earth fleet." Sensors indicated the Alliance ships powering up their weapon systems. The situation was deteriorating rapidly. "Commander Tavik," Ilara tried again, "at least review our findings before taking action. The quarantine was established to protect humans from outside influence during their evolution, not because they were dangerous. Your interpretation is irrelevant." Tavik responded, "The quarantine will be maintained at all costs." At that moment, the Earth Defense Fleet arrived. 50 ships of various sizes, hastily retrofitted with technology derived from the Starweaver. They formed a protective line between the Alliance fleet and Mars. "This is their defense," scoffed one of Tavik's officers. "Primitive vessels with rudimentary adaptations of Alliance technology." "Begin the cleansing operation," Commander Tavik ordered. "Target the largest Earth vessels first." The lead Alliance warship fired a powerful energy beam toward the Earth fleet. What happened next stunned everyone watching. The beam struck an invisible barrier and dispersed harmlessly into space. "Impossible," whispered Tavik. "Scan those vessels again." A second attack yielded the same result. The Earth ships hadn't just copied Alliance shield technology, they had fundamentally improved it, creating a defensive system that even Alliance weapons couldn't penetrate. "All Earth vessels are now in position," Chen announced, unable to hide a note of pride. "We don't wish to fight, but we will defend our right to exist in this galaxy." Commander Tavik's face showed the first signs of uncertainty. "How is this possible? Our weapons should easily overwhelm their defenses." "Perhaps," suggested Ilara, "this is precisely why the quarantine was established, not to contain a threat, but to nurture potential. The humans were protected so they could develop their unique abilities without interference. They've just demonstrated that potential by improving our technology within hours of seeing it for the first time." "A fairy tale," Tavik dismissed, but with less conviction. "Then let me show you the evidence," Ilara insisted, transmitting Zen's research to the Alliance command ship. "The quarantine was never meant to be permanent. It was a protection measure until humanity reached a certain developmental stage, a stage they have clearly achieved. For long moments, Tavik studied the information. The Alliance fleet remained in attack position, but no further weapons were fired. Finally, Tavik spoke. This information will need to be verified by Alliance historians. But he paused, looking at the human ships that had so easily deflected their attack. There appears to be merit to your claim. Commander, Ilara pressed her advantage. I propose a new approach. Instead of enforcing an outdated quarantine, let the Alliance formally recognize humanity and establish diplomatic relations. The protection has served its purpose. It's time for the next stage. The discussions that followed lasted for days. Alliance historians and scientists arrived to verify Zen's research, while human diplomats worked tirelessly to establish the foundations for peaceful contact. Gradually, the truth emerged. The quarantine had indeed been established to protect humanity's development from outside interference during a crucial evolutionary period. 3 cycles later, Captain Ilara stood on the observation deck of the newly established Earth diplomatic station, watching Alliance and human vessels dock side by side. Captain Chen joined her, now wearing the formal uniform of Earth's first ambassador to the Galactic Alliance. It's still hard to believe, Chen said. A few weeks ago, we thought we were alone in the universe, and we thought the Milky Way contained some terrible danger, Ilara replied with a smile. Instead, we found the opposite, a species with remarkable potential that the ancient Alliance sought to protect. The sleeping giants have awakened. Chen quoted the old warning, now understood in its proper context. And the galaxy will never be the same, Ilara finished. As they looked out at the stars, both captains knew they had witnessed the beginning of a new era, one where humanity would take its place among the civilizations of the cosmos, bringing with them their unique blend of innovation, adaptability, and compassion that had made them worth protecting for 10,000 years. The quarantine was over. The seed had flowered, and the universe waited to see what humanity would become.